Justin from the J Media, back with another video. So every single year I do this video where I talk about my 1 year ownership of the car. This year marks the 5th year that I've owned this car. So if you guys want to look back at the 1 year review, 2 year, 3 year and 4 year review, everything's on the channel on the car features page. But yeah, this car has been with me since November 2015. It's been a pretty long 5 years. The car has underwent a lot of changes. So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm sure you guys want to know what's been done to the car, so let's jump right in. So there's a bunch of stuff that's been done to the car. Let me do a full walk around of the car if you guys are new to the channel. Car is sitting here at the shop, so it's not in the best condition. It's not super clean, but hopefully camera doesn't pick it up too much. But yes, usually I go through everything that's been done on the car in previous years, but like I said, every single year the mod list just adds on more and more. For this year, 2020, what I'll be doing is talking about what's been done to the car this year, what new mods I've added. Again, if you guys want to watch any of the other videos, probably the 4-year anniversary video of this car, I pretty much talk about everything that's been done, so watch that if you want to know exactly what's been done to the car, and then watch this one so you know what's been added on this year. I think that video last year took like 30 minutes. That's how many parts have been done to the car. So if you want to find that video, I'm gonna post it up here. You can also find it on my car features page on my playlist in the YouTube channel. Again, every single thing that's done to the car, whether it's the exterior, interior, engine bay, everything's done on there. So without further ado, let's get started on what we done to the car in 2020. So at the beginning of this video I did mention I'm the only owner of this car. I bought it brand new. If you guys are wondering what car this is this a Evo 10? Nope, it's not an Evo 10. It is a 2015 Mitsubishi Lancer GT. So yes, it's a Lancer that's been turbocharged, wide bodied, big brakes, bunch of stuff been done to the car. So one of the first few things I did this year in 2020 was actually throw on my big brake kit. So if you guys been watching, again, I do have every single DIY video on the channel. Currently right behind my wheels we have some Brembo brakes. These are off a Cadillac CT-SV, 6-piston brakes up front, and on the rears we have 2-piston Brembos off an Evo 10. So I know what you guys are thinking, why do you need so much stopping power when it's not even an Evo? So the whole plan was I wanted to boost the car eventually, but I wanted to have like good brakes, good suspension, all that good stuff to support it before I get more power. A lot of car guys just want to push big power without the supporting mods. I'm a huge advocate of throwing on supporting mods first before getting more power. So do they bolt right on? No. But the Cadillac CT-SV brakes, so these are OEM brakes. I believe you can see the little logo right here that's V, which stands for Cadillac CT-SV. They are OEM Brembos. They usually come in yellow or silver, and to make them fit, there's this guy called Andrew Pye, I believe he's from Florida, who custom made some brackets to make them fit. So a lot of guys fit these Cadillac CT-SV calipers on like 240SX, on you know, a bunch of different cars. They fit on the Lancers too. Again, Andrew Pye is the one who made it for me, these custom brackets. The rotors you see back here, I believe, are Evo 10 slotted rotors. We also have some stainless steel brake lines as well that you can't see behind it. And then for pads, since I'm running Cadillac CT-SV calipers, I have to run Cadillac CT-SV brake pads. So that's the front. Again, if you guys want to watch that install video, you can find it on the how to installation playlist on the channel. Pretty much the whole spindle has to come out, and then I got the caliper, brake pads, rotors, and stainless steel brake lines as a packet. So Andrew Pye already pretty much got it done for me. And in the rear over here is actually more complicated. So I did mention these are off an Evo 10. These are the OEM 2-pot Brembos. Usually for an Evo 10 is 4-piston Brembos up front, 2 pistons in the rear. So technically I'm running more aggressive 6-piston brakes up front. These were a pain. So guys have done the front, the rears not so much. Pretty much to get it to fit. So again, same thing. I have the Evo 10 slotted rotors, the stainless steel brake lines, and to make them fit, I actually have to replace the whole rear trailing arm off a Rallispired or an Evo 10. So whole rear trailing arm comes off. The bad thing is when we were doing the install, there wasn't really any YouTube videos or stuff like that. I was trying to get information on forums, but again, not many people attempted this. So besides the rear trailing arm, on the Lancer rear trailing arm, my e-brake is actually on it. So what that means is we have to rip apart the OEM e-brake and feed the Rallispired rear trailing arm, which is what I use, all the way up here. You pretty much have to take apart your center console, because the e-brake cables are connected back here to the back seats, and it runs underneath the car all the way. So yeah, it's a bunch of work to make it fit. Besides that, we also ran into another issue. So the Lancer rear trailing arm has some sensors on there, some ABS sensors. So whenever we're getting that done, what happened was, I thought the install was good. When I was driving the car for the first time, I couldn't go above 5 miles an hour because the car would bog out, and you know, they had like some safety ABS light come on. I couldn't even drive above 5 miles an hour. And again, I'm guessing this is a thing on newer cars. Apparently some older cars, even without ABS, you're fine. So if you look in here, this looks like I'm all-wheel drive now. That's my axles. Fun fact, so the Lancer GT, this model at least, it's not all-wheel drive, it is front-wheel drive. The Ralliards and Evo 10s are all-wheel drive, and to make these fit, I have to get axles from an Evo 10, and I'm not actually attaching the all-wheel drive axles. We chop it in half, and there's axle ends on the back of it, and then with that, I have the ABS sensor reading, so whenever I drive and the wheel spins, it pretty much says that, oh, the axle is there, he's moving, everything's good. So a little trick that I had to do. Again, I know it sounds pretty crazy and confusing, but go ahead and check out all those big brake kit videos on the channel so you know what I'm talking about. And another thing that we did was some custom lights. So let me go ahead and switch it on for you guys. So a couple years back, we installed the Vlan headlights, and usually when you switch it on, let me just show you guys. Usually when you switch it on, the LED just comes on like that. What I did was I took apart the headlight and customized it. Again, I hate wiring work, but I took it upon myself to try to learn. I had to basically bake the headlight, take it apart, and cut the LED circuit boards. I got it for lit lights, but let me show you guys how it looks. So wiring was a mess. It took me like 13 hours to figure it out just because I suck at electrical stuff. But I have the app over here through LED hue. I connect it through Bluetooth, and then enter. Ooh, so love how red looks. I can also cycle through different colors like auto mode, and it changes colors. If you guys are wondering if the Vlans come like that, they don't. It took me like 13 hours of labor to get it here. If you guys have Vlans, you want to get it done, hit me out on my Instagram. I do charge a fee for it since it takes a lot of time, but I'll be able to do it. Or if you guys want to buy the Vlans already made like this, I can also do that for a fee as well. So just let me know. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then one of the big things you guys want to learn about is turbo. So let's get right to that. So engine bay is open. Let's jump right to it. So this project, we actually still kind of currently working on it. Again, big thank you to the guys at Long's Automotive, Long, E-Man, AJ, Gabriel, all the guys here at Long's Automotive. This is where I'm shooting this video actually. If you guys ever need any automotive stuff here in Central Texas, make sure to hit them up. They don't just work on modified cars, they work on your family cars as well. If you need body or paint work, you need an oil change, you need mechanical work, they pretty much do it all here. they're just super busy, so make sure to call first, get you an appointment. But yeah, pretty much besides just bolting on the turbo, we also did a bunch of other stuff. If you guys are wondering what turbo setup I went with, I still have the stock 4B12 block that came in my Lancer GT. You either have the option of bolting on an Evo 10 turbo or a Ralliart turbo. There's also another company called Rotors Motorsports that makes a turbo kit, but that's really expensive and it's apparently not the best. The best way to go is still boosting it with an OEM Evo 10 turbo or Ralliart turbo. And either way works. The main difference is the Evo 10 turbo is bigger. It's a little bit more turbo lag. You don't really have turbo hit till about 3,000 or 4,000 RPM. And then your turbo manifold has to be different as well. I'm using the Ralliart turbo, which is smaller, last boost, spools quicker, around 2,500 RPM is supposed to be when it hits. And yeah, pretty much I have a CVT transmission in case you guys are wondering. That's the reason why I went the Ralliart turbo as well, because I can't be running too much torque anyway. I decided to go with the Ralliart turbo. So before we started on the turbo build, we did some other stuff. First thing was long ripped apart the engine cover and we put cams in. So even if you're NA, you could do this mod. We put in Evo 10 OEM cams. If you want to go stage 2 cams, I know some guys put in like you know, stage 2 Brian Crowder cams. You can, but you do have to change out the springs and retainers as well. So again, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that since I didn't do it, but the Evo 10 cams are drop-in even if you're NA. With a good tune, it gives you extra 20 horsepower. Next thing we did, like I said, besides just slapping on the turbo kit, we also put on some other Evo 10 parts. So we have an OEM Evo 10 intake manifold over here, and then also an OEM Evo 10 throttle body hiding right here. So the Lancer one is plastic, doesn't look good, and you know, whenever you run boost, it's more hot, and I don't know, eventually it might crack. So I was like, might as well switch it out. Evo 10 throttle body is bigger as well. The only downside is there's much more work to do. With the plastic Lancer manifold, there's the EGR connected to it, so you do have to do an EGR delete. Again, I know some of this might not make sense, but everything is on the playlist on the Mitsubishi Lancer turbo build. I put everything from the very beginning of this build on there, so if you guys want to watch it from the beginning to now, you can do all that there. Let's see, so cams, Evo 10 cams, Evo 10 intake manifold, Evo 10 throttle body's done. Pretty much we were trying to figure out some of the electrical stuff and the plumbing, the coolant and all that before we put the turbo stuff on. So the car was sitting in the corner of the shop for a little while. We took apart the front bumper, we took apart the hood, we took everything apart so there's more space to work with. The radiator over here we also replaced. Didn't have to be replaced, but I replaced it with a Koyo red radiator. Runs more cool, slightly bigger core. And then pretty much we ran all the plumbings for the coolant. I love my JDM bling, so a bunch of ARC parts, ARC radiator cap. Let's see, and then we ran into, and then we pretty much put all the intake stuff, so Erc Intake Box, to make this fit. Also a little bit of a challenge. If you use the Ralliart kit, typically your battery sits right here, same with the Lancer. For the Evo 10, battery sits in the trunk. So to do that, to make this fit, you either have to relocate your battery somewhere else, which is what I did, or if you want to leave your battery here and make your life easier, that's probably the better way to go. I just, you know, want it to look better, the Erc Intake Box. Again, if you guys know JDM parts, I love Erc stuff. Erc Intake Box, get all that done, all that boot. Let's see what else here. And then also ran the HKS blow-off valve over here in the back. Erc blow-off valve pipe. So if you are boosting it, you do have to be recirculating. Apparently they run kind of rich on Evo 10 or boosted Lancers if you release the atmosphere. when you guys think of turbo cars, you like the whoosh whoosh turbo noises, but it's actually not really good. You have to run your recirculating. Let's see, what else do I have here? And then for fuel, I have to switch out the fuel rail. Oh, one other thing. For the intake manifold, if you run the Lancer intake manifold, it wouldn't fit on the Evo 10 intake manifold just because the fuel rail doesn't quite line up. So you can either get the Evo 10 OEM fuel rail, or in my case I got an aftermarket one from Torque Solution. And then pretty much I also have the fuel pressure gauge over here from Tomei, little add-on. Let's see, what else did we do here? Man, there's just so many parts in the past few months that we put on. Again, the build is pretty extensive, so I recommend if you want to see a step-by-step to go through all the Mitsubishi Lancer turbo build videos in that playlist. Let's see, over here I have some stuff from Club Spec Chicago. So this is power steering fluid cover, looks a little better. Oil dipstick, also from Club Spec Chicago. So a little bit of dress up parts. I do go to a lot of car shows all around Texas, in case you guys are wondering why is there so much bling. Let's see what else we have here. Pretty recently, the start of this year, I also put on the Chasing J's titanium oil cap. So I love my titanium stuff in the engine bay. This is a theme I decided to go with. And then if we jump right to the turbo stuff, let's get right to that. So turbo is sitting back here. So like I said, I'm running the OEM Ralliart turbo. I believe it's a TD04. We also are running the OEM turbo manifold from a Ralliart. So if you run a Ralliart turbo, you have to run a Ralliart turbo manifold. If you run an Evo 10 turbo, you have to run an Evo 10 turbo manifold. Shaped a little bit different, so you can't interchange them. Sadly, for the Ralliart turbo manifold, there's only one other aftermarket option from Strictly Modified that looks amazing, but it costs like $1,000, so it's really expensive. I just went with the OEM setup. If you run an Evo 10 turbo manifold, there's just so many options you can get. Let's see what else here. And then you can't forget right here, this is the titanium upper intercooler piping that brings it all the way down to my intercooler. I also have my titanium lower intercooler piping. Can't really see, but it goes all the way here. You can kind of peep through here. Titanium piping from RK Titanium. Again, they look amazing, they look good, but it's like a little expensive. And it goes down to an ARC intercooler. So it's kind of hard to see through the mash grill, but the ARC intercooler is something I've been hunting for like a year. If you guys know ARC parts, they're rare, hard to find, and expensive. So I have the ARC intake box, ARC blow valve pipe, ARC radiator cap, and ARC from my intercooler. Eventually I'll be taking off that mash grill, so you'll be able to see ARC a little better. Let's see what else here. Oh, another titanium bling that I recently added. We have a carbine titanium front strut bar from Japan. Again, something that's super rare to get. While at it, I also decided to get some more titanium bolts. I got these from JD Customs. So as you can tell, a lot of titanium in the engine bay, which is the whole theme. I had this vision for this build before I built it a few years back, that whenever I do turbo, I want to have a lot of titanium. So that's what I've been doing. Again, I've been saving up for parts. I think I started collecting parts for the turbo build since late last year. So 6 months I've been saving up to get the parts bit by bit and then bring it to the shop. And with any NA to turbo build, it takes a while, and you run into certain issues here and there, and you have to fix it, this and that. So it did take a little longer, but pretty much turbo stuff is all good to go. Right now we're just working on a tune with Rick with Rallinspired. It's taking a little bit long, but hopefully we get everything sorted out pretty soon, because we're ready to take this car home. I'm sure the guys at Longshot is ready for me to get out of here with the car too. But let's see here. So, oh, another thing here. Sorry if I'm kind of on a rant, because a lot of small little stuff we did over time. We also have a manual boost controller. So this is from Howman manual boost controller. So you manually turn up the boost or lower the boost. And then, which brings me to another thing. Talking of bringing the boost up or down. We also have another part connected to the turbo. We have a Kinogawa turbo wastegate actuator. What it does is the OEM Ralliart turbo, I believe from factory, runs about 20 pounds of boost, around there. I might be wrong, but close to 20 pounds. The Kinogawa turbo actuator brings it down all the way to 4.4 pounds of boost, so really low boost. With the Hellman manual boost controller, I'm able to manually turn it up. But one thing about Lancers running the turbo kit, you don't want to be running full boost from the Ralliart or Evo 10 turbo because the car cannot really handle it. It's recommended that with a CVT automatic transmission, 5 to 7 pounds of boost, and then with a manual transmission you could run about 7 to 10 pounds of boost. Again, if every car is different, so depending on the mileage, condition of the engine, whether your internals are built, or stock internals, you might be able to run more boost. There's been some pretty crazy Lancers out there. I know of guys running in the 400 horsepower range. Recently there was a video a few months back, a guy from Puerto Rico was running a 658 wheel horsepower Lancer, which is insane, super crazy, super high boost. But again, when you run so much power, sometimes the car is not the most reliable. So the whole I guess you can say the whole thing about this build is I'm not trying to aim for high horsepower. I just want a little bit more power off the build. The car is still predominantly a show car, but I just want it a little bit of go, not just all show. At the same time, I want to keep things reliable-ish and not have the motor blow up on me right away. Motor still has pretty low miles right now. I think we just hit about 30,000 miles, so yeah, I don't really drive the car too much. It's not a daily driver, and if you guys are wondering if you want to boost your Lancer in a weekend, can you do it? You can, but you might run into issues. Definitely recommend having a second car just in case. But yeah, I hope you guys like this little 5-year recap video of what's been done to the car. Again, if you guys want to know everything that's been done besides the turbo and big brakes, you can check out the 4-year anniversary video last year. I just do a little walk around. There's just so many things done to the car over the years and more stuff to come. Speaking of the interior, we also have this carbon fiber gauge pod. It's kind of like Subaru style. We currently have the AEM air fuel ratio gauge here. We're also going to hook up the AEM boost gauge as well as AEM oil pressure gauge eventually. But yeah, I mean, bunch of carbon in the interior. Some Brown racing seats with Takata harnesses. Right now I'm running a Vertex wheel, but yeah, stay tuned. We also have other plans for that. And then another thing on the rear end of the car, in the future that's going to change up a little bit too. So if you guys are new to the channel and wondering what white body kit this is, you want it. It is a custom made white body kit made from a body shop. So hit me out on my Instagram. I actually am a dealer for them, so if you guys want the front white body kit or the rear white body kit, I can get it for the Lancers or Evo 10. Let me know. It does take a little while to build since it's made to order and custom built, but we can get you a set. Again, I hope you guys like this little walk around. Really stoked. Car sounds awesome with the turbo stuff. Little Terpsky sounds. Here's another look at the engine bay. So a few other things that I forgot to mention about the engine bay, so excuse me if I'm running on a tangent. So you see these right here with some stainless steel braided lines. These are custom oil lines. You do have to tap into the block right over here. And I actually got that from Jonathan Bay's custom made oil lines, from the block to the turbo, oil feed line, oil return line. So Jonathan Bay is the guy I went to. I believe he's based out of Florida as well. And earlier I mentioned about the battery relocation. We did not relocate it to the trunk, but we have something custom that long set race cars do. So we actually relocated the battery right here to the passenger side, right behind the front bumper. All race cars actually do that. And he had to build a custom bracket for it. So you see that little black box back there? That's the battery. I still have my terminals up here, so if you guys are wondering if I want to disconnect or connect anything, you just gotta run some really long battery lines all the way back here. And then another thing is on the other side, right by the intercooler piping here, since it is a CVT, you want to make sure it runs cool and not too hot. The common issue with the CVT transmission when you boost it is it's running too hot, it fails. So the GT has an OEM oil cooler. Some Lancer models don't come with it, but for extra precaution, one guy, Scott Cowden, actually spoke to him. He has boosted Lancer for 6 years, CVT transmission, runs it on the track for 6 years without issues, and he told me cooling is a big part of it. So what I did was, behind the OEM oil cooler, I actually got another oil cooler. I stacked it on top and got a transmission fan. So I have a fan, oil aftermarket Hayden Automotive oil cooler, and then the OEM one. So 2 oil coolers and a fan, just to run super cool. We have it hooked up such that whenever the car is switched on, once my fans, my radiator fans kick on, these kick on as well. So yeah, just extra preventative maintenance. If you're a manual car, you don't have to do that. Another downside is with these CVT transmissions, like right over here, so super tight. If you can see my coolant piping, the blow valve pipe, transmissions right there, is just, yeah, it's just a cluster back here. It's just super tight. There's no space to really work around with, but it can be done. There are a couple boosted CVT turbo Lancers out there. Shout out to JDM Tony from New York. He also gave me a lot of tips. He recently, well, about a year ago, he turboed his CVT Lancer as well. Some of you guys might follow him on Instagram. He has a bright yellow wide body Lancer as well out of New York. So super cool. A bunch of these turbo Lancer guys have been giving me advice. Again, not too many people actually do this. Another guy who's done it, who's kind of here in Texas as well, is Jordan. So Jordan's out of Houston, Texas, and he turboed his Mitsubishi Lancer about a year back. He has the manual, and he has a 2015 GT as well. Also went wide body, and now he's rebuilding it for a bigger turbo. He's trying to run 400 or 500 horsepower. So pretty exciting. I hope everything runs good on his build. But I'm not, if you guys are wondering what kind of power numbers, I am not sure yet. I'm not trying to go for big numbers, but from my guesstimates based on what JDM Tony is running on a similar setup CVT transmission, if we're 5 to 7 pounds of boost, we might be around like 250, 280 horsepower. If we're running about 10 pounds of boost, which is what he's doing, I think he hit about 335 horsepower. 335 crank, so to the wheel you're looking about 280 or so to the wheel. But yeah, the chassis is lighter than the Evo 10s. The Lancers, I believe, are 2,900 pounds. The Evo 10s are 3,300 pounds, so 400 pounds heavier because of the all-wheel drive. Apparently, according to other boosted Lancers, with the turbo setup on a roll race, it's quicker than an Evo 10, but I don't know. Again, don't quote me on that. I'm just trying to get all my tuning stuff worked out well, and then hopefully everything drives good. If you guys stayed to the very end, I want to say big thank you to you guys for watching the build. I know some of you guys, OG subscribers, have been watching this build since the very day I got it. Like I said, this build has gone through so many phases over the years, and I don't think this car is going anywhere. So again, you guys stay to the end, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new to the channel, hit that little notification bell so you know when new videos are out. Again, I upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 AM Central Time. Thanks for watching, and catch you guys in the next one.